What's up, everybody? It's Matt. Um, so for week one, what I wanted to talk about, there's a lot of readings, a lot of good stuff. Um, but there was a part in healthcare for some. It was just like very brief, but it like kind of got me thinking. They mentioned healthcare as charity, or that doctors did a lot of their service uh, for people who could not pay and didn't expect to pay. And the author called this charity work. And I was thinking just about how, like, sort of the narrative in these first two chapters for healthcare for some, where it sort of seems like the reason we don't have universal healthcare now is because the physicians back during the Great Depression were acting in their own self-interest uh, and working with the hospitals to sort of make as much money as they could. However, right, I guess, like, I thought it was just an oxymoron because they're still, like, calling the work that they did without pay charity. But I don't really think that that makes sense. I think charity implies that these physicians in these hospitals back then were motivated to make money, and that was the reason they were treating patients, not to heal or not to relieve pain, but only to make money and see patients as a profit. I think the sort of parallels can be drawn with language too. I think when we see in those language rights documents and talking about the different cases, I think that those documents sort of proved that anything that we do to enforce language restriction is unconstitutional by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. And so then why wasn't this racial segregation or this rationing of how many people of each race goes to each hospital during the Great Depression, why wasn't that looked at with high levels of scrutiny like it is in legal cases, right? Like that isn't giving due process to those people who need health care and then have to wait at clinics all day long. So I don't know. I just think this kind of brings up a point of, like, as future healthcare professionals, I think it's important that we think about how we're framing what our job is, like what we want to do as future doctors and nurses and other people in healthcare. I think it's important that we stop to think about, why am I doing this? Is it because of the salary, or is it truly like a vocation or something that we're called to do, to heal, to, take care of the ill and provide like a better life for other people, regardless of if we ever made money or not. Teachers still teach regardless of their salary, and they're some of the most underpaid people, in America today. So, I mean, I think the narrative of, like, oh, doctors need to be paid highly. Well, yeah, I mean, but teachers, the implication that, like, oh, teachers won't teach if they're not paid well, that's not true. I think in one of the last bits of reading in one of those smaller articles, it said healthcare or health equity is achieved when every person has the opportunity to attain his or her full health potential. Really? You think we have health equity in America right now? Like, it doesn't sound like it. So I don't know. These are just a couple of my thoughts and something to maybe hopefully bring up tomorrow in class. So thank you.